Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Thrive, Not Just Survive. I'm so glad that you are joining us today. It's Thursday, and we have our wonderful standing in guest, Sharon Fillmore, who is a NLP practitioner. And today we're going to be talking about um, happiness and the happiness factor. I was really, in terms of just figuring all this out over the years of all my readings and studying, I came to this knowledge that, happiness is really found along the way, and it's an inside journey, an inside job, as opposed to something that exists outside of us or something that we will attain once we get to that place. Like we get married or have a baby or get a new job, and it's always attached to something that's outside and something that you're getting to. So today I want to talk to Sharon about this whole idea of happiness and joy and the feeling of fulfillment. We are, obviously going through this stressful time, but we want to figure out what this is, because after COVID-19, there will be a lot more awareness of how do we find that internal happiness. So without further ado, I want to bring Sharon on so we can get this conversation started. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, good morning. It's nice to see you again.
Same here. I'm so glad. I look forward to Thursdays because I feel like this is a conversation that I really can dive into, because you and I talk the same language as we are doing the same type of work with our clients. So can you talk a bit about this happiness factor and the whole idea of joy and where it is in relation to happiness?
Sure. First, I'd like to point out that we all have a right to happiness. And one of the reasons why we have that right is because happiness comes and joy come from inside us. It's not something that happens outside. Other people that are happy can increase your happiness. However, they don't produce your happiness. And example is, if you're a really happy person and you find someone else that's happy, then you suddenly have a tremendous amount of joy and happiness in your life. Now, if you take that other person away, it doesn't really change that, because you have actually grown together and you have developed this happiness inside of you. Now, if you take a person who's very happy and you mix them with someone who's very unhappy, you're not going to be able to produce happiness in that person that's unhappy, because it's part of what you need to do for yourself. It's how we bring it out. Right. Now, saying that, there's lots of things that contribute to it. There's a situation like right now, what's going on. A lot of people are unhappy. However, it's a choice. You can decide to be happy. The other things that can affect it are neurotransmitters, and the biggest ones are serotonin and dopamine, because they're the ones that are really responsible for mood. So if you're a happy person and everything is going on and you can't figure out why, you just can't get there, look at your dopamine and your serotonin and things that you can do to raise those.
So the thing we hear a lot is exercise. For a lot of people, it increases it, right? So it gives you this boost of that happy feeling, of this energized feeling that you get, and it's because these chemicals are being released.
Exactly. So when there are certain things that will release chemicals in your body, we call them our happy hormones, right? And exercise is huge, because when you're moving, you're circulating. Your blood is circulating, all your brain, your cells are all being oxygenated. But that is that feel-good hormones that are being released. That's your dopamine and your serotonin, think of how satisfied you feel when you go through, particularly a difficult workout, even though you know you're going to be sore the next day. You think, I feel so good. So exercise is really important. Nutrition is very important. There are some foods that are going to block or even stop or exhaust these hormones. And guess what the biggest one is?
Sugar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sugar. It is our nemesis.
Yeah.
So sugar is and it's interesting trying to replace sugar in our life, because it's everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Another thing is animal products and beans are really important for your serotonin levels. And then fresh vegetables are really important for your dopamine levels.
So I
So,
talk about a lot of, well, in one of my courses, I talk about high vibrational foods. And there are some foods that have a higher vibration, right?
exactly.
Based on its content, its color, there's so many factors that mushrooms are one of them, right? Or different types of
Yeah,
mushrooms. And so it's about when you're ingesting these things, not is it only just giving your body nutrients, it's giving you the kind of elements that are in that particular fruit or vegetable, whatever that is. And it's actually giving you that feeling of either feeling better, feeling happier, feeling more calmer or content. There's that whole idea of what we're eating is not just for our bodily functions, right? There's more to our nutrition.
there's a lot more. When you're looking at food, they say eat a rainbow. Well, you're eating a rainbow because then you're going to have all the nutrients you need to produce all of the hormones and substances your body needs. But color and nutrients are very important to elevating your mood. Like we were talking, yellow is a happy color. So eat some yellow vegetables, red is a color that makes you feel good and heavy. I mean, don't you love a salad with lots of bright red things in it? Oh, that's
Yes,
good.
yes.
No, that alone just makes you happy. Although I know there's some people out there that aren't big salad fans, but
No, I know. And it's funny, both of us are wearing red today. So we woke up with some form of, that thing to bring out that feeling in us. And it's funny, we didn't talk about the color we were wearing, but both of us have shown up today in red. So it's really interesting how this works, right? Because you can go into your closet someday and just not feel like wearing something. It's just not calling you for whatever reason. And it could be just your energy levels, wherever they are. So if we're aware, I think the key here is to start becoming aware of how certain foods or exercise or our activities have effect on our emotions, because really happiness is an emotion, right? We're feeling this and we want to feel it more often, especially right now when we're confined into this space and not meeting people and all these things that are, challenges. We have to find ways of creating this happiness factor.
exactly. And we need to find them in our homes right now, not outside. Although we can still go outside for a lovely walk. And I mean, going out for a walk does tremendous things for your mood. Number one, you're getting sunlight, and sunlight helps you produce vitamin D, and vitamin D is really important for mood. The second thing is you're exercising. So you're getting those exercising helps bring out your endorphins, and it improves your circulation, and it just is generally helps your whole body. The other thing is just being out in fresh air. Doesn't it feel good to just be out in fresh air, especially now because we've had such a long winter and we've all been cooped up inside.
Yeah.
So going for a walk in a neighborhood where there aren't a lot of people around, where it's easy to social distance, is a wonderful idea.
Yeah, and I think this is where we come up with our own ways that we can do depending on where we live and what's going on with our kids and family and all of that. I think it's just, again, being aware and then bringing it into our routines so that we can give ourselves doses of these hormones that are required for us to keep our energy levels up, keep our mood up, right? Because the more we dwell on the worry and the stress and the lower we're getting emotionally, which then can lead to further anguish, in terms of emotional anguish.
So, exactly. Um, and we really want to make sure that we keep our levels high as we can. And if you're not able to get outside, go online. There are a million free exercise programs right now. You can do anything, exercise with friends, I do this funny thing with my daughter. She lives about 45 minutes away, and we walk together. I get on my phone and she gets on her phone, and she walks where she is and I walk where I am. And it's really nice. It's like a really great visit. And although we're not walking together, we feel together. And that alone restores your happiness, because you're also socializing, because it's really important to keep we are social beings.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's important that we have contact with other human beings.
Absolutely. And I think this whole idea of partnering up with somebody also is an accountability factor. So if your daughter is going to go for your walk and you feel like, I don't want to do it, but she's counting on you to be there, then it motivates you to get out there, right? Because somebody is waiting or counting on you. So again, that whole accountability, it's like when we were able to go to the gym, they say, come with a partner, it'll keep you on track. And so again, these are like, we're social beings, but we also need some sort of accountability partners around us so that we can keep on track, because sometimes some days we're not motivated to do whatever, right?
Exactly. I mean, and sometimes it's just that you just need that little push.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
a little push.
Yep.
So that's like super important.
So,
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I just had another thought come in.
One of the things that I love to talk about is laughter, because laughter is so important in our lives, and it does so much for us. Did you know that when you laugh, you actually exercise? A good belly laugh will tone your tummy. I mean, isn't it sort of an interesting thing? There's like, it increases the effectiveness of your immune system, right? So it's not just for your hormones. It improves, builds your hormones. It improves your immune system. It helps you release your cortisol, like your stress hormones.
I know. So the saying goes, right? Laughter is the best medicine.
It truly is medicine. You know what? It increases your metabolism. Isn't that interesting? It increases your metabolism. So all of you out there that are worried about weight, just laugh every day.
Yes.
It's a great idea. It reduces pain. 15 minutes of laughter will reduce people's pain and sometimes eliminate it.
Wow. See, and these are things that are like things that we do, but we don't even know the benefits, right? Until we talk about it and we're thinking, oh my gosh. And so really for me, laughter is, I go looking for it. I will watch only movies that are comedy. I'll go on YouTube and look at, some funny videos, or I've gotten into TikTok now and I just watch funny things, because I find that as soon as I start laughing, things begin to change, right? Like my whole aura changes, because I just feel lighter. And so, sometimes even when you're feeling lower, it's knowing that, what if I just got onto a YouTube video and did something that made me laugh, or watch a show that is just a comedy, it's brainless, but it's going to bring me to laugh. It's just to find those things, even when you're sort of, hovering over, not feeling great. You just need to have those resources at your fingertips to say, I'm just going to watch that for a little bit.
Yeah. I actually recommend that people put things on their phone, like little videos, pictures, collage, things that they are going to make them laugh, and put them on their phone, so that, if they're feeling low, it's right there. It's at their fingertips. They can just, have a good chuckle.
Yeah.
And I also suggest that you keep adding to that, sort of, so you have it available to you. And if you don't, let's face it, there's a million cat videos on YouTube. When I was teaching, one of the things that I would sometimes do during breaks, especially when I could see that, or even not during breaks, when I could see that nobody was sort of really into the classroom, and it was like they're all dying, I thought, well, they really need to get some oxygen to their brain. So I would put on funny cat videos.
Yeah.
And everybody would laugh, 10 minutes of funny cat videos, and all my students would be awake, and I could teach again.
Right. And it awakens a lot of different things, a lot of different, our learning, right? So some people that may be very auditory or very visual or whatever it is, it awakens different senses when we are laughing. So I think it's a great resource in terms of what we can do if we're not feeling great. Because now, of course, for a lot of people, this cabin fever has set in, and it's like, now it's getting to a point where, okay, I just need to go and do my other stuff, right? Like go to the office, go meet people, and we're all kind of feeling a little bit more claustrophobic, right? So it's about finding resources that work for us, and different things work for different people, right? For me, it's a different kind of humor that might get me, as opposed to for you, right? So just find what it is that works for you, because not everything is the same for everybody.
Of course not. And we wouldn't be who we are. We wouldn't be this incredible group. I mean, all of the things that we have done and developed over the centuries is because we're all different people. We see things differently. So different things are going to make us laugh, and
Yep.
find what makes you laugh.
Yep.
I think that it's great.
And I think the other thing to note here is put something funny on your social feed so that maybe somebody who's scrolling down or whatever and needs a bit of a laughter or something, they'll catch their eye, they'll stop. So we can do our part in terms of what we put on our feeds. You know, if you find it funny, I'll tell you, somebody else is going to find it funny too.
Exactly. And then you're not only helping yourself, you're helping other people out there. Someone out there is going to get such a good laugh out of it. It's going to change the mood for the entire day.
Right. And I think that's something that, you know, like you said, and I love this, is when you can help you are helping yourself, but the whole idea of helping somebody else, it releases another level of emotion that allows us to feel better. Because if somebody said to you, know, that post really helped me, I needed to see that today, gives you a feeling inside of, oh my gosh, I've just made somebody else happy or whatever, right? So there's such a power, there's a powerfulness in terms of helping others that also elevate our emotions.
Exactly. And speaking of that, volunteering is a great way to help with your happiness, because it when we do something for someone else without expecting anything in return, it makes us feel good about ourselves. And when we feel good about ourselves, it brings that joy to us. It brings happiness. And you're also meeting other people then, people who you probably wouldn't normally meet, that are affecting your life in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And right now there is a lot of need for volunteers, and you don't have to be in the line of fire. You can, help the food banks out, and just pack food boxes. There's so many things that you can do, help your neighbors out. That makes you feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about getting resourceful. It's about it's now thinking outside the box, right?
Exactly.
We've been trained for a lot of things, programmed to think inside this particular box, that everybody does it this way, and this is the only way it works, and But now it's time to, let's get creative. Let's begin to figure out what is it that we can do that's creatively different, but still will bring an effect of happiness or joy or something better for somebody else, which will then affect ourselves as well. Exactly. So I know we talked about, like, if at this point there are people that are really just feeling very low or can't seem to get out of it. I know you shared some resources. If you can talk about that a little bit.
All right, there's a couple resources. One is telehealth. It's Telehealth Ontario, and you can give them a call if you're feeling low. They will talk to you, and then they will direct you to the resources that you need. Okay, and their number is 1-866-797 and then 40. Okay. Another service that I've looked at that I think is really helpful, particularly for people that don't feel that they want or to talk to someone, a stranger. And it is called, do you have it up there? It's called Bounce Back Online. And it's a service that is sort of like an online program, and it helps you with mood. But one of the things I've noticed, it has workbooks in it so that you can work on specific issues that are troubling you, sort of directly related to mood.
Is that a free service, Sharon?
It is a free service, yeah. It's available for Ontario, Manitoba, and British Columbia.
Okay.
And but each province has a telehealth, and each country has a mental health association, and those are really good resources for people.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? It's just about finding it or reaching out and figuring out how that can be supported supporting you at this point, right? A lot of people, like you said, may not want to talk to somebody. Maybe they're not at that point yet, but at least if they get some resources online, they'd be able to at least work on it on their own for a bit and kind of get their thoughts in order. So I think that these are great resources. If they're free, then, you know, people would be more apt to going towards them and maybe just researching it a little bit. So I really appreciate you bringing that forward, because I actually didn't know about Bounce Back Online. So it's great for our audience to see what's out there. And I know the government is doing a lot of different things in terms of the education for people to you know, get those services and being able to access them. So I think these are, you know, good things for us to know. And then, of course, taking care of ourselves in terms of self-care. And we've talked about this in the last couple of weeks, right? The importance, how important it is to really take care of ourselves.
It is, and it's especially important right now, because we need to feel good about every part of the day, and especially good about what we're doing. And many of us have lost that self-care aspect because they're in a home with their entire families, and there's no room or time for that. So our self-care might have to change a little bit. And that's another way to sort of think outside the box. Think back to when you were younger, things that you really enjoyed doing that, you know, when you were in a big family at home. You know, like an example is, like, I come from a family where, you know, there was 7 of us living in a small house. Well, we all had our own little corner there where we used to go, and we would read our books or color, or I know color sounds strange, but coloring is really good therapy. I do that all the time. I have the adult coloring books. You know, you just finding a place where you can, you know, get into the zone basically, and stay there. Another great thing is if you have a hobby, or skill, something where you can sort of, like, they call it flow. Well, what it basically is, like, you're in the moment. You know, people that like to tinker with things or build things. For me, it's like, I love cooking, and I will sort of plan these elaborate menus, and, you know, I'm in my own world, you know, surrounded by cookbooks in my computer. And it's really about finding that place, because when you can get into flow and be really in the moment doing something that you love, then the entire world just disappears.
Yeah.
It just fades away and you forget about it. And you don't always need a huge space for that.
Yeah. I think that flow is really important, right? Because a lot of things are born in flow, meaning there's a creativeness that gets triggered within you, that ideas start sparking up, or, you know, things that perhaps you've been too busy to notice start showing up in your experience. And I find getting in that flow as you do it, like you said, cooking for you, cooking for me as well, in this time has become one of those things that I've just really immersed myself in. And so it brings up other creative ideas, and it's really neat how that's been happening, and things start showing up. So I think it's also, you know, containing and being in a certain vibration while we're doing something where we get lost in it, because then resistance is low, right? We're not having those resisting thoughts of the worry and the stress and the, what am I going to do this and that. And so once we lose the resistance, we're able to kind of be in this very flowy place where thought creation and creativity pop in. So I think it's a beautiful thing if all of us can find time, or not find time, but find those things that engage us that way, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's important that we continue this when this is all over, because flow is, like you say, is that creative time, and that's how we're going to get outside of this box.
Yes. And so if we practice now, after we're out of this COVID, it'll just become one of those things that become robotic for us. Maybe it just becomes part of our DNA and we just do it anyway. So this is a great time to practice how to get into the flow, right? And sometimes, you know, people might feel like, oh my God, I still can't get my thoughts to stop. It's practice. Nothing happens overnight. Everything takes practice. And as you do it slowly, what you'll find, at least for me, is I wanted more of it, because I love that feeling, that couple of minutes that I got of of that calm or that peace, I just was like, oh, I want to go do more of that because it felt so good.
It feels good. It makes balances your body, your mind, and your spirit. It really balances all of them together, and it allows all the creativity that we have to start to come out. It gives it that space. When we have all kinds of chatter going on in our minds, and there's all kinds of, all this conscious stuff is coming at us and coming at us, we don't have the capability of doing all of the things that get us into flow. I have a little exercise that I use a lot, especially when I know that there's things on my mind and I'm going into a situation where I really need to be able to focus. And that's what I do, is I pretend that I'm putting my troubles in a corner. And whether I'm walking into a building or I just open my door and shove them outside, and I just think, I'm putting you here. I'm going to be gone for 2 hours. And, if I need you, I'll come and get you. And it's amazing how you can do that. I have, when I've been under tremendous amounts of stress, I have actually put something physical in the corner, like an umbrella or a rock even, so that, you're focusing, okay, my problem is going here, and I'm just leaving you here, and I'm moving on to do what I need to do. And when I come back, hopefully I won't need you anymore. And if I do, I'll pick you up.
Yeah. And it's a subconscious thing, right? Because you're telling your subconscious it's here. Like, it's not like so much that you're trying to just forget about it, because the more you try and forget about things, the more they keep coming into your awareness. But if you tell your subconscious, you know what, I'm leaving you here right now, and I'll come get you if I need you, it's giving your brain some space to just go do something else and know it's here. And there's a real psychological, I don't want to call it a game, but it's a psychological process that happens when you detach.
There is, yes.
Yeah. And I think that's a great way, even now, like, we're stuck in our house and, trying to cope with the different stresses, the kids, the cooking, the groceries, and all of the other things that we need to be very mindful of. It's a good practice to say, if you leave your bedroom, I'm going to leave this worry in this corner today, and then I'm going to go do my thing. And then if I need to come back, I will. And the whole process can at least alleviate some of that stress.
It does. Yeah. And it does. And it also lets you know emotionally that, you can come back to it, yes, even though I really hope you don't.
Yes. And the whole idea is to get further and further away from going back to it. But again, it's practice. It's okay if you do have to go back to it, because we're humans and we are programmed a certain way, and to deprogram these things takes time. So it's okay. Like, let's be very compassionate with ourselves and understand that it's a process, and nobody gets to, from point A to point Z in one leap, right? It's going to take a few steps, and whatever that means for you, could take 5 steps or 100 steps, whatever the journey is, just sort of take your time and be kind to yourself, because that's really where I think a lot of troubles begins, is when we really are hard on ourselves. When we start having negative self-talks, I'm not worth it, I can't do it, I'm not smart enough, this is never going to get better. All of these things that if we keep repeating, we're going to live those truths.
Exactly. And let's change the truths. It just makes it easier. Just change the truths. And you don't have to do that at all.
Right.
One of the really interesting things for people is awareness. So when a lot of things are bothering you, it's good to write down in a column what you can control and what you cannot control. Because when you look at things, it's amazing how much control you have. You feel you have no control. Particularly, think of the COVID-19. People think they have no control. Well, in some ways they do, because we have all the social distancing measures. All those things give us back control. They may limit some of the things we can do. Those things we have no control over. However, there's a lot of things we do have control over. And it's really about, deciding, I'm going to look after the things I have control over.
Yes. Yes.
And that reduces stress. And in any way you can reduce your stress, you're going to increase all of your happy hormones, and your happiness and joy are going to be able to flow and flourish.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good place for us to kind of say, okay, we've given a few strategies, we've given some insight and perspective. I hope people can kind of take this away and just mull it over in their minds and come up with what works for them. So how I'd like to end the session today is through a meditation, because I feel that's been very beneficial for me, as well as I believe my audience, because I know I've gotten messages from people that say, we love having that moment of where we can just calm ourselves down and experience this when you guide us through it, right? So if we can do that, that would be amazing.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I can get us started right away. So let's find a nice, comfortable place. And if you, and I am your only distraction. Think of it that way. Okay. So close your eyes and put your feet on the floor and relax your arms and your hands on your thighs. Stop for a moment and just collect yourself. Honor your stress. The stress that we have can be our teacher. And as you go through the meditation, I want you to think of that stress can be your teacher. Let's see. See, stress can be the good thing. And so we want to allow it to just be and to learn from it. So honor your stress and keep in mind that you are an observer of your stress today. During this guided meditation, I want you to ask yourself if you could have permission to let go and relax. Ask yourself and give yourself a moment to answer it. Do I give myself permission to let go and relax? That's it. Just let go and relax. Okay. Let your mind be guided for a moment. Nothing matters at this point in time. Just relax and let go. See your stress as if you're looking down on it and watch it leave. And think of the things you're learning. Focus on your breathing. Take a deep breath in and out. And slow it down. Deep breath in and out. Now I would like you to hold your breath when you breathe in. Breathe in. Hold, hold, hold. And then let go slowly, slowly, slowly. And another deep breath in. Hold, hold, hold. And now let it out slowly. Do you feel that energy of this moment? Is there lightness or heaviness in your feeling? Take another deep breath and hold. Hold, hold, hold. And now let it out as slowly as you can. Do you notice a difference in your body? It's relaxing more. Allow your mind to be in the moment, observing your breath, and continue to breathe easily and effortlessly. There is no place to go, no place that you need to be. It's all well within this moment we're experiencing. Difficulties may be in your path. Let them go. Deep inside, we will find the strength and the answers that we need for these days and these times. Continue to observe your breath. How deep does it go? How shallow? What do you notice? Notice the rise and the fall. Observe how it feels. Now take another deep breath and attempt to make it deeper. Can you feel the warmth and the energy of it circulating through your body, through your lungs, as it escapes your mouth? Can you feel? And what do you notice? Compare and contrast. Take note of the differences. Allow yourself to stop in this moment and observe. What do you feel? What do you sense? What do you see inside your body? Take note of everything and the differences that you notice. Allow yourself to feel that. There's no right, there's no wrong. There's only correct. Or there's no correct, there's no incorrect. Only this moment. Allow yourself to be in this moment. Experience it without any thought as to what you should feel or be. It's time to open your eyes and allow yourself to stretch your fingers and your toes. Stretch your arms, stretch your legs and your shoulders, stretch your back. Let be what needs to be in this moment. Bring your attention back into the room and look at your surroundings. Honor and respect the precious gifts you've given yourself. And honor your stress and ask, what do I learn from this today? How do you feel?
That was good. It's funny, like how the different feelings, like when you were talking about what do you feel, like it to bring the awareness to that. At one point it was a very light feeling, almost floating. And then the third time it was more like there was heat. I could feel heat expending. So there's no right or wrong. Everybody feels different, but it's just for me, as I go through it, these different things come up and I obviously I practice a lot of meditation. So, to go through that whole concentrate on the breath is very, very helpful. bring the thoughts back, because of course thoughts are going to come. So it's just coming back to that center again of breath. So that was really good. Like in terms of, and my apologies for the dog. Normally she's as quiet can be, but something happened. The leaf fell off a tree and she of course had to talk about it. So, but you know what, even through that, I find now that I'm able to just keep my breath as my focus, even if she does, like when I'm doing it by myself, she may whatever, right?
Yeah.
Bark, but I try not to get it to take away my focus.
I thought that was interesting, and it was nice because it created a challenge for the audience as well, because then they had to focus more on my voice, right? So at least I'm hoping you all did. And you know, we all have things that interrupt our lives, and you know, I think a dog is a nice thing to interrupt your life with.
Yes, and I do too. So I really, you know, like I said, I'm able to kind of just say, okay, that's just happening, and then I keep coming back to my breath. And I hope that, you know, this challenges people, that you don't have to have pure silence, and you don't have to kind of go into the woods and do this. You can do it at home. There could be maybe, you know, cars in the background, the noises that are going on in the house, whatever. I think it's just finding your awareness back to your breath and being able to just do it over time. Maybe the first time it's 30 seconds, then it's a minute, maybe it's whatever, 30 seconds for a week. However it works for you is the right way. It just, that's it, right? So I really appreciate your time today, Sharon. You know what, so much wisdom and insight and perspective. I look forward to next Thursday, because I know we'll be talking about something, and we'll share with the audience what it'll be next week. But in terms of people tuning in, join us, because Sharon will be our guest on Thursdays, and then Dr. Cheryl will be our stand-in guest for Fridays. So you know, as we begin to kind of figure out where we want to put our focus, there might be certain sessions that you're called to. So thank you again, Sharon. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you again next Thursday. I appreciate your time as always. So thank you, everybody that's tuned in. If you're watching this on replay, please hashtag replay and share. You know, you never know, this information could be helpful for somebody else. So please share it on your page and on your feed, because all we can do right now is help each other out, and this could be one way. So happy Thursday to you all. I will see you again tomorrow. I do have Dr. Cheryl on. We'll be talking about health and wellness again. So I'll see you tomorrow at 10. Have a great day. Be kind to yourself and each other.